Have you ever wondered how to tell if you have a bad loan officer or what it is they're supposed to be doing for you in the first place? If you're buying a house this year, then understanding what a loan officer is supposed to do for you and if you have a good one is going to be very key in your home buying experience because let's face it, you and your loan officer are going to be getting very close during the home buying process. So if that interests you, stay tuned because we're going to be jumping right in. Well, what's up, everyone? It's Channing, and today's topic: what is a loan officer and what do they do? Let's jump in and let's talk about the things that a loan officer should be doing for you, and we'll also mention some red flags that you should look out for to maybe know if you're having a bad experience or if you need to look and talk to someone else. So, absolutely, the very first thing that a loan officer has to be for you is available. If you can't reach them, if you can't communicate with them, if they never call you back, or it takes days for them to call you back, or weeks, gosh, that would be awful. If you can only talk to them through a chat bot and you never can talk to them once they take your application, that is a red flag. And communication is the biggest part of what a good loan officer does. Now, yes, we're going to get into some other things, but you need to be able to talk to them and they need to be able to talk to you, and they should never be condescending, they should never be rude, they should never act like they're better than you or like you're wasting their time. That's nonsense. If you've got somebody like that, leave them and find somebody else who cares and who's passionate about making sure that you're educated on the largest freaking purchase that you're ever going to make for most people. So communication is key. You can see I'm a little passionate about the subject. If they're not communicating, toss them, right? Number two, your loan officer is your advocate. They are there to advocate for you throughout the process. So it is imperative that when you're working with your loan officer that you tell them all the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Because I promise you, after doing this for almost a decade now, it always comes out. So if you didn't tell them about child, and look, sometimes it's just you didn't know, and we don't fault you for that, right? But we do get clients that intentionally try to hide things, and it always comes out. So if they ask you a question, answer it honestly and transparently, because it's better to get the information up front and address the issue versus to get it later on after an underwriter catches it or in the middle of the process, and then your loan gets denied and you lose out on the house and it's a big stressful ordeal. So your loan officer is your best advocate because their job is to take all of the facts, all of the information about you that they know that they need to know, right? Put them together and then sell the file to the underwriter. They're putting your file together. That's the third thing. Your loan officer is structuring your loan. They need to understand guidelines. They need to understand loan programs. They need to understand you and your goals, which is part of advocating and part of communicating, so that they can put you in the best possible loan program for you and your needs. And so they need to know the guidelines. They need to know the rules. Unfortunately, there's a lot of loan officers that don't know the guidelines. They rely on Google, and that's it. And so if you don't understand guidelines as a loan officer, then you're going to put people in a bad spot because you're going to think you can do a loan that can't be done. And that's why who you pick as your loan officer is probably more important than anyone else in the transaction, realtor included, because this, if you're getting financing, this is your quarterback. Like, this is the guy or girl that's going to put this deal together and make it work. So loan officers put your deal together. They're collecting your documents, they're reviewing your pay stubs, they're looking at your driver's license and your pay stubs and your W-2s and your bank statements, and they understand in relation to the guidelines of the program that you're applying for or the program that they think you could apply for, and they're determining whether or not there's a deal there. So in a way, loan officers need to be a little bit underwriter and a little bit friendly, right? And so a good loan officer kind of has to have those two sides to their personality, because we need to communicate with the client, but we also need to have an analytical brain so that we can understand the process, the guidelines of the loan process. So that's number three. They're putting your deal together. The next thing that your loan officer needs to be able to do is close your loan on time, right? Because so much of the stress and the struggle and the issues that arise, in, especially with first-time home buyers, in the home loan process is the loan doesn't close on time. Now, no loan officer is going to come out and tell you, maybe there's one, most are not going to come out and tell you, oh yeah, I'm not going to close your loan on time. Most will tell you they can, and then you kind of go through the process, and then it drags on, and then you kind of realize there's no way this is closing when they say they're going to close it. And so by closing your loan on time, it alleviates a lot of stress. Well, what's on time, Channing? whatever the contract says. So if you've got a contract and it says you close on X date, the loan officer needs to be able to close it by that date, but it's a team effort. And so the loan officer has to talk to the realtor to make sure that they don't give an impossible date to meet based on your situation. And then it's up to you to get your loan officer whatever it is that the underwriter has requested from you quickly, because every day that it doesn't get turned in, it could delay the loan. Because here's the thing that a lot of buyers don't understand. Underwriters typically, if you send me a pay stub, but they need pay stubs, W-2s, a divorce decree, some child support documents, and you send me the pay stub or the bank statement, or maybe you send me both, the underwriter isn't looking at your pay stub and your bank statement and now we're just waiting on these things. No, that's not how it works. The underwriter will not review any information typically that you send in until you send all of the information in, right? Because they don't want to do the back and forth. They want to look at it all at once. So that's why it's so important when something is requested of you from your loan officer that you get that into them very quickly, because they don't want to delay your loan, but it is a team effort. And so if it takes a week, that's a week that you potentially lose on being able to close. So that's the other step that they're doing. They're closing your loan on time. Now, you may have wondered, how does the loan officer get paid, right? Are they just trying to scam me? Are they just trying to sell me? Well, here's the reality of the situation. Almost all loan officers are paid directly by the lender that they work for or that they send the loan to. And that lender pays them a commission rate based on the loan amount that you provide. So yeah, bigger loan amounts equal bigger paydays, smaller loan amounts equal smaller paydays. But if you're working with a reputable lender who actually cares about you and doesn't just see dollar signs, they're not going to treat you differently whether your loan's $100,000 or $400,000. And so everybody gets to buy a house, that qualifies. Everybody that wants to buy a house should be treated fairly. But loan officers are paid on commission, and that's important to note because that means they're invested. They're invested in you and they're invested in the deal, because if they don't close it, they don't get paid. And if you, as the client, walk away from the deal or choose another loan officer over them, and they didn't do anything wrong, maybe you just got referred to a loan officer and you don't really know them, but you knew the realtor and they said these people were good, or your father-in-law or whoever, then you've kind of robbed them of the chance to earn a paycheck, because they're not salary typically, at least in my world, unless they work at a big bank, and they only get paid when the loan closes. So that's not a guilt trip. Like, if you don't like the loan officer, then don't use them. But if you did, then keep that in mind when you have another lender telling you that they can do this or do that. I think any good loan officer would never tell a client not to go use someone else if their rate was a lot better, if they were saving you money or whatever. But I think for the most part, especially us, we're very competitive. Our rates are very low, and we would tell you that if we were beat, which is very rare. But at the end of the day, just remember that the loan officer doesn't get paid unless the deal closes. So they want the deal to close, you want the deal to close, and they want it to close quickly, just as quickly as you may want it to close quickly. That's a mouthful there. But they want it to close quickly as well. All right, let's just jump in real quick now and talk about some red flags. I kind of touched on them in the beginning, but if you can't ever get a hold of your loan officer, if it takes days to get a response, to get information from them, that's a big red flag. They should at least be communicating like, I'm not sure of the answer. I've sent it off to the underwriter because I don't know the answer to that question, and I'm waiting on them to respond. They should at least be able to do that. So if you've sent a text, put in a phone call, send an email, whatever it is, and you're not hearing back for days at a time, that's a red flag that your loan officer may be overwhelmed, or the loan may not be going well, or something. You need to check into that. Number two, if the loan officer acts condescending and like you're not worth their time, just bail. Just bail now, because that's not going to change. They're going to treat you like that the whole time, and they only see you as a paycheck. And gosh, who wants to work with someone who only sees them as a dollar sign? I sure wouldn't. I know you probably don't either. Big red flag. I hate it. There's a lot of them in the industry that only want to talk to you if they know for sure that they can make a big paycheck on you, and that's just stupid. I hate it. Run away from those type of people. And then finally, if you never talk to them because there's like online chats and you can never get them on the phone, they can never have a conversation with them, that's another big red flag, because there's going to be things that happen during the process where you need to be able to communicate. Hey, you sent me this fee worksheet and I see this fee on here for $600. What is it? Like, those are the types of things that you need to be looking out for. It really all comes back down to communication. It all comes back to communication and knowledge. Okay, do they know what they're doing, and are they communicating that to me? That's their job in a nutshell. And so if they can't hit those two baseline items, those are big red flags that you need to consider working with someone else. So I hope this video was helpful. As always, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, never miss another video that we do. And if you have any home buying questions at all, there are links in my bio and in the video where you can actually book a call with me. And I'm happy to go through whatever your options are. It's a 15 to 30 minute phone call. There's no obligation for the call. We will go through everything. We will put together a home buying plan for you, and we will get you on the step to owning your own house. So I'm Channing, and I look forward to talking to you soon.